Good morning, good morning. I'm your host, Hassan Aline.
Co-host Carl Williams.
And this is Apartheid, Michigan. Apartheid.
Apartheid.
Oh, man, talking about apartheid. We're going to start right off talking about apartheid, Carl.
Jim Crow, huh?
Oh, yeah, the new Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander's book. And she's saying how the Justice Department, the government starting this war on drugs. That was the previous war on drugs. And how is the government? The government is the one, we're talking about the United States government and how they are incarcerating young black men, minorities, black and brown, the Latinos, and anybody else, poor white folks to get in the way, in the drug program. That they are the ones that come up with this money and the drugs.
It's not surprising.
Oh, yeah, and they got a law. That's the whole thing I'm looking for. I don't know why I don't put that stuff down and these lights say something else when you're trying to read something.
Yeah, kind of blind you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is back in the 80s when President Reagan persuaded Congress to pass the Military Cooperation with Law Enforcement Act. Let me read this again, the title of the law.
Yeah.
This is Reagan. Persuaded Congress, this is Congress now, to pass the Military Cooperation with Law Enforcement Act, which encouraged the military to give local, state, and federal police access to military bases, intelligence, research, weapons, and other equipment for drug interdiction. The legislation carved a user exception to the Posse Comitatus Act, the Civil War area law prohibiting the use of military for civilian policing.
Sound like they're getting ready for a war.
Oh, man, it's back in the 80s. Just back in the 80s when they started out. Yeah, there was a war on black folks.
Yeah.
Who do you think the war was on? The war was on us.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, in the law. In the very law. And so, here it is that let me see here. Man, they had it was followed by Reagan's National Security Decision Directive, which declared a drug threat to the U.S. national security and provided for yet more cooperation between local, state, and federal law enforcement in the years that followed. President George Bush and Bill Clinton enthusiastically embraced the drug war and increased the transfer of military equipment, technology, and training to local law enforcement, contingent, of course, on the willingness of the agencies to prioritize drug law enforcement and concentrated resources for arrest for illegal drugs. Now, this is the government giving the money.
Yeah.
And they had a plan to lock up who else but the brothers, the black folks. And this is what we have been saying for what? For 2 months now?
Yeah.
When President Trump, and that was back in January, November of last year, when President Trump declared that he was coming to Chicago. And after Chicago was coming to Detroit.
Yeah.
To get rid of the drug dealers, to get rid of the drug problem. So that's us. Who else they think is the drug dealer but the black folks?
Who they saying is the deal?
White folks use more drugs than anybody, but they don't deal in them. What kind of crazy stuff is that? They use more drugs than anybody. So this is where this SWAT thing came out, with the SWAT and the stop and frisk. But here's the amazing part, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to use, and they have used, the traffic stops. Yeah. All these illegal traffic stops to look for drugs. So you thought you was just getting a ticket. You was mad at the cop because he pulled you over and you know you wasn't speeding. You know, hey, I didn't run that red light. What are you talking about? I didn't run a red light. I'm not speeding. Well, I might have been a mile over 2 miles. Man, you know they gave me a ticket for for 1 mile or 2 miles over the speed limit, but you didn't know they were looking for drugs. You were a suspected drug dealer. Can you believe that? You're on your way to church. You're a you're a suspected drug dealer. You're going to work. You're a suspected drug dealer. That's why you were pulled over for the traffic stop. Man, we didn't have a clue on what's going on. We still don't. I thought the people in Ferguson didn't know what was happening.
No.
We don't know. And we supposed to be sophisticated Detroit, sophisticated Chicago. Don't know anything about what these police agencies are doing. But I'll say, we said it right on the show. We said it right on the show. What are y'all talking about? How you gonna fight these people and they got rocket launchers? They got all the material from the government.
You got stuff you ain't never even heard of.
Those flashbang grenades. That was the government issued grenade. The one they threw in that house over there on the east side when Alicia Jones got killed. That's a young girl's name.
Yeah.
The little Jones girl got killed. All of this stuff that they're using from the military on civilians.
Ain't that something?
And you think you got a good police department and it's really been run well, and you don't know you are being targeted. If you black, if you anywhere in the Tri-County area, you're being targeted. When you ride down the freeway and you get a ticket, you're being targeted.
Oh, yeah.
As a drug dealer, we think they lie and they say that it's because you were going over the speed limit. You're 5 miles over the speed limit and all that crazy stuff. And in reality, you are being targeted as a drug dealer so they can push their program.
No, that's a fact, because I know it's been a few years ago. I got a ticket out in the suburbs, and I think it was Grosse Point. And I went to court, and I look, what are these black folks doing down here?
Mm-hmm.
They don't stay out here. Now, what they doing out here?
How they get the
Now,
ticket?
they had to be targeted. There's no way you can have a disproportionate amount of people in the suburbs getting all these tickets unless you target. You don't, especially back then, this is about 10 years ago, man.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't live out there, so why is it that you're going to have all these black folks getting tickets? Now, I expected to see some, but I didn't expect it. It kind of shocked me when I walked in there and seen all them wall-to-wall black folks. I thought, damn, what all these, I know these people don't live out here. I just happened to be going through Grosse Point. Well, I was right on the outskirts, really.
I don't even like going to Grosse Point, let alone through Grosse Point. I go down any street on the outskirts of Grosse Point. If I got to go, then I cut up that one street or whatever. Look what they say, ladies and gentlemen. If you got the book, turn to page 74. If you have the new Jim Crow. Says, who is this? The Cato Institute? Similar, the National Journal reported that in January of 1997, October of 99, the agency handled 3.4 million orders of Pentagon equipment from over 11,000 domestic police agencies. That's back in 97.
Yeah.
Not in 2000. Ferguson had the military equipment a long time. Mm-hmm. Detroit, you know what? That's where those helicopters came from in Detroit. That they got rid of. That was just, we thought they bought it. That was a scam when they got it from the federal government. Then they turned around, the city turned around and sold them. What did they get? Put the money in their pocket. That police department needs to show enough be audited, telling us they don't have any money. And what else do they have here? Pentagon equipment. Let me see. What was that? From 11,000 domestic police agencies in all 50 states. Included in bounty were 253 aircrafts. Detroit, did they get an airplane? I don't think we got an airplane, did we?
Not that I know of.
Including including 6 and 7 passenger airplanes. Now here's the thing: that 60 Black Hawk helicopters, and it gave away one Huey helicopter, 7,856 M16 rifles.
Say that again.
7,856 M16 rifles, 181 grenade launchers. So they can, you talking about you barricaded in the house, you mean they can just sit outside and get the grenade launcher out and shoot it on over in there and blow their house up. 8,131 bulletproof helmets, 1,161 pair of night vision goggles.
Man.
And they can't catch nobody around here. And you wondering what kind of, what do they call those? The police had these joint task forces, what they call them, a joint task force. And they doing all these so-called raids and stuff going on at night. They got the night vision goggles.
Boy, that's.
But it's for us. They're not doing it in Warren. They're not doing it out in Grosse Pointe. They're doing it in Detroit, and all of Dearborn Heights, Harper Woods, all of those communities that surround Detroit are doing all this tactical recon in Detroit on us. And here it says, let me see, the Cato Institute report, paramilitary units, most commonly called Special Weapons and Tactics, or SWAT. Now you know what that acronym SWAT stands for. Special Weapons and Tactics.
Special Weapons and Tactics.
The SWAT team. Were virtually formed in every major city to fight the drug war. So when they keep talking about, now think about it. What happened to the hostage taking and the hijacking or prison escapees? I ain't no SWAT team for them. What hijacking do we have in Michigan? Huh? You got all they have, the largest air population outside of the Middle East is in Detroit. You don't have any hijackings, no, but all of them, I guess, are considered terrorists. None of that stuff, right?
No, none of it, man.
But during 9/11, they rounded up everybody named Mama over there in Dearborn. I guess they said, well, we treating y'all like we do the black folks. They rounded them up and put them some everywhere, and we don't realize that this is the federal government. They got the money. So Youngblood, all this how you going to tax somebody and what you going to do to them. We've been telling you all the time, you don't have a chance because you don't have any bullets, number one. You don't have the bullets. Now this is, man, look, this stuff get deeper, y'all. The Drug Enforcement Agency, that's a DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, trains police to conduct utterly unreasonable and discriminatory stops and searches throughout the United States. What stops? Those vehicle stops.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute, this is the DEA. The Drug Enforcement Agency trains police to conduct utterly unreasonable and discriminatory stops and searches.
Unreasonable.
Perhaps the best known of these training programs is Operation Pipeline. The DEA launched Operation Pipeline in 1984. That's been a long time. As part of the Reagan administration's rollout of the war on drugs. The federal program administered over 300 state and local law enforcement agencies, trained state and local law enforcement officers to use pretextual traffic stops and consent searches on a large scale for drug interdiction. Officers learn among other things, how to use a minor traffic violation as a pretext to stop someone, how to lengthen a routine traffic stop and leverage it into a search for drugs, and how to obtain consent from a reluctant motorist, and how to use drug sniffing dogs to obtain probable cause. By 2000, by the year 2000, that's 15 years later now, the DEA had directly trained more than 25,000 officers in 48 states in pipeline tactics and how to help develop training programs for countless municipal and state law enforcement agencies. Now you want to know what's going on. You say,
Now you know what's going on.
do they know what's going on now? Y'all
From
sure?
what you just got through reading, they should know.
And so when somebody gets killed, when a black person gets killed, why do they all say the same thing? Because they've been taught, or we've been telling you that.
That's right.
We know you didn't believe us, but we got the black and white. We got a book now. It's not just Hassan and Carl saying it. It's some other folks. It's Michelle Alexander talking about it.
She did a lot of research on this.
A heck of a lot of research. Anytime you're going to go back and pull out the law. And so, you know what? It's like the police chiefs right here in the city of Detroit. Sheriff. No, wait a minute. This is back in the 80s now. 80s and 90s. Started in 84. So you have different police chiefs and commanders and deputy chiefs and lieutenants that have been taught this. Then they have been taught how to train the local police officers. I know Benny Napoleon, when he says that, you hear him say, well, he's been to a FBI academy. Uh-oh. And he also might have been to a DEA academy, but he didn't want to talk about that.
No.
But they have got this training. You know, this training is cross-agency. They're going through the different districts. So they've got these training on how to stop a motorist, how to lie to you. You know, it's not against the laws for the police officers to lie to you. Did you know that?
They do it all the time.
No. But they're telling us now it's not against the law for the police to tell you a bold-faced lie, but it's against the law for you to lie to the police. But that's why we need to follow the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution. It says that you don't have to incriminate yourself, meaning you don't have to talk to the police.
Nope, you don't have to say a word.
You don't have to say a word. Now you know why they got the dog sniffers out there. They say we got probable cause. The dog talked to him. What's that dog's name? McGruff. McGruff. Hey, well, Smokey the Bear can talk, so you know the dog can talk. Huh? Well, hey, I don't know what the dog said. Did you?
No,
The dog said woof, and all of a sudden, you know, all these dogs been talking, man. Snoopy do talk. He said, hey, Snoopy, what's going on? But Snoopy always said, oh, no. Snoopy always said, I don't know.
Scooby-Doo.
Oh, the Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
Okay, Scooby-Doo. One of the dudes. Snoopy, Scooby, okay. Show you how much television commercials I Well, you know, when them dogs go to talk, I said, I don't need to watch that show. I don't believe that. Oh, yeah. So here we have people that getting shot down, killed every day, and we have national leaders. Y'all need to get some of these people the book. I like Reverend Al Sharpton. Y'all need to get him the book. So he'll know, talking about how much training they need. They need to be retrained. They've already been trained how to kill us, how to tell that lie. I was scared for my life.
Yeah.
I was scared for my life. Every people, somebody gets shot, they say, I thought he had a gun. Come on, you don't know the drill.
Yeah.
You ought to know the drill yourself. You watching television, what they going to say?
They ought to know it anyway because they say the same thing all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But this is amazing. This is so sinister. Man, come on, ladies and gentlemen. You're being stopped every day and you part of the drug addiction thing. They're looking for drugs, and you fit the drug profile. You black. You brown. You Latino. Oh, man, you know the Mexicans and some mean hombres. They know what they call them. They know what Trump said. So they coming. So what is this? Why are we allowing our silly, acting teenagers, young adults, young blood, I'm talking to you old school, why are we letting them fall for this junk about, oh, we got some legal weed, some legal marijuana, and weed and marijuana is against the federal law? Can't nothing about. And then even right now in Michigan, you got to have a marijuana card. Do you know that they have shut down half of the marijuana clinics in Michigan? 99% of the ones in Detroit are allowed to stay open.
Ain't that something?
Huh?
Ain't that something? No.
Oh yeah, the
That should
state
tell
of
you something
Michigan,
right there.
the state of Michigan has ordered half of the marijuana clinics closed in the state, but they allowed Detroit to stay open. So now you want your son and daughters to go to jail for weed, for some drug, which is the weed. And we just are silly and crazy. I don't hear the preacher saying nothing.
No, they just,
You don't hear the preacher
they just out of
saying
it,
nothing. You don't hear them opening their mouth, preaching about the sins of intoxicating your mind with marijuana and the fact that the government is using that as a pretext to shoot you down like a dog. And you're going to be out there crying, oh, my baby. No, you with him. What, you didn't think he was going to do that? What you say, slavery is over? Well, you know what we don't realize? As a slave, you didn't have any freedom, but you were worth money. Now, they say you're not worth anything to them now, so they're going to kill you. You worth being criminalized, so we can put you back in jail under the 14th Amendment. Oh, yeah, they can enslave you. They can put you back in jail, take away your liberties for a crime. When are we going to start reading the federal and the state constitution? It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
When are we going to do that? When are we going to stop acting silly and following these crooked, illiterate politicians? They're not doing anything for us.
Not a thing.
And what do you say, Carl? They can read, they just won't read.
Just won't.
They just won't read. Oh, man, something else. Can you believe that?
Put some naked women and naked men on the cover. They might read it.
Yo, if they knew,
Might open it up.
they might
Don't know
look
if
at the
they
picture. You
read
don't know if they're going to read anything, huh?
it.
So what do they say about these stops? In search of drugs, most of the stops and searches are futile. It has been estimated that 95% of the pipeline stops yield no illegal drugs. One study found 99% of traffic stops made by federal-funded narcotics task force resulted in no citation. That 80% of the task force search during the traffic stops are discretionary searches in which officers search the car with the driver's verbal consent, but has no other legal authority to do so. So they don't even have any legal authority to search your car.
No, they don't.
Except you consented to them. Oh, yeah, go in there. And so then we get back to the drugs are planted on you. Well, they got us. Hey, man, you can't find no drugs, so they go out there and plant them on you. These guys are vicious. They're diabolical. They're diabolical, but the main thing we need to realize is that this is federal money. That these stops are traffic stops made by federally funded narcotics task force. There's a federal government funding this money under the narcotics task force, under that law back there with Ronald Reagan, the good conservative, and we don't even have a clue on what they're doing to us.
No.
And none of your uncles and aunties and cousins that wanted the Detroit police force, they're sworn to silence, Deontay.
Yeah.
What they sworn to? They won't even tell you what's going on.
The blue
And they
code
said
of silence.
the blue code, and they've been sitting in them classes learning this. And you talking about, well, they need education. Education to do what? You already know what side they on. Or, and now they getting out all kind of overtime. The police giving out all kind of overtime for the traffic tickets. Is that a waste of federal dollars or what?
Yes, it is.
And they making their money, and we need to pay more police officers. Look at those people that got shot over the weekend. Well, those were family and friends that got in their little feud always, had too much to drink, and maybe they had too much marijuana to smoke, and they putting all them chemicals on the drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
So you don't know how they're going to react.
Man, well, we're going to take some calls. All right. Caller, you on the air? Hello, caller. Are you there? Well, call us back. Hello, caller, you on the air?
Good information, guys.
Thank you.
When the people gonna wake up and understand that the plantation overseers, that their jobs is to criminalize and to fine and feed and collect bodies, or get rid of, exterminate, commit target practice, commit hate crimes. And you have to understand who's infiltrating all these agencies, and that their mission is to get rid of the population. Remember, always connect the dots to population control. We don't need you no more. If we can't find and feed you, then we gonna have to bury you, or somebody gonna have to bury you. We just gonna send you on your way, one-way ticket. So thanks for the information. Did y'all hear that Ken Locke is on the water board now, Commission? Duggan put him on there.
No, I didn't hear
No,
that.
well, but you know what? He cannot. Nobody's opening their mouth. The man can only have one job. He can't have 2 and 3. He can't be on 2 and 3. But they don't care who's opening their mouth, who's saying anything. He's on. What's that other commission he's on? The Harbor Commission. What is that?
He's on yeah, you're right. He on more than enough.
Yeah,
he's on some more. Yep. So I guess cooning works for those as long as the coon is cooning for your enemy, because he ain't benefiting nobody else but your enemy. And people just blind to the fact that they keep voting their own demise. Thank you for taking my call, y'all.
Thank you for making it here.
Okay.
That's amazing to me. Like she said, we voting for our own demise, and then we say, oh, we don't know what to do. What you mean you don't know what to do? All these people have been voted in. The president was voted in, but you say you don't want to vote. And these people have an agenda, and the agenda is to get rid of us. And you don't believe that, well, keep hanging around. They're hanging around as long as you can, and we're going to vote. The marijuana ordinance is on the ballot, and we don't have sense enough to go out and vote no.
No.
And to tell your children and grandchildren to vote no. We know what the drugs will do to your mind. Those are hallucinatory drugs. As they say, it'll calm you down. So what the weed don't do anything. Matter of fact, it calm you down. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also gives the police probable cause.
That's what they're using it for. That's what they're using it for. And we silly enough to vote on a law. And then, you know what? What is the old saying? You can't walk and chew gum at the same time?
Yeah.
So they're going to put two things out there, and then you're not going to understand that the weed violates the federal law, and they already got this federal money in here. They already training and these task force to lock your silly behind up. And you got preachers, Reverend Agravan, sitting on that police commission. They sitting on the board. They hear all of this stuff.
And don't open their mouth to tell you.
They hear all of that. Is he secretly telling his congregation? Is that what he's doing? He telling a few people like they did up in Flint, oh, we going to give you these filters, but don't tell anybody? Is that what's going on? Look at Benny Napoleon. He's aware of that stuff. He was police chief of Detroit. He was police. Oh, he was part of it. I know he going to deny it. We don't care nothing about that. We know you were there, Benny. You a public official, so we can say whatever we want to say. But we want the truth. We're not saying you did anything wrong. We think it's wrong when you won't tell us. But look how dirty these people are. Here's a person, a police officer. He's sheriff of Wayne County Sheriff. He was Detroit police chief. I'm talking about Benny Napoleon.
Yeah.
I don't think I mumbled. Everybody talking about I don't call names. I'm talking about Benny Napoleon, current sheriff of Wayne County. And we heard, it was rumored, and everybody said, well, he was going to be Gretchen Whitmer's lieutenant governor.
Yeah, I heard that.
Right? Did you hear that? And
Yeah.
then these same FBI people leaked their name and said, well, he's part of that. We looking at him because he's part of that bid rigging. You know, he's part of the Gasparfini and all them in the towing company. His name came out. Now, why they put one of their own in there? Well, he's black. He might have thought he was with them. But now we see how they treat the people that's sitting right there. And I guess he wants to be a good old boy because he sure ain't going to come out and tell us anything. He's not even going to whisper it. He's not even going to start a whispering campaign about how dirty the FBI is. See how they turn on their own? But if you're black, you're not one of their own. That's what I want to let you see. They going to throw him under the bus. Because I don't care how you a law-abiding citizen, they don't care nothing about you when you're black.
That's a fact.
Huh?
That's a fact.
Long as you law-abiding and helping us get rid of black folks, you all right. But when you want to get in a power position, you got to go. Boy, them some dirty dogs.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all talking about Trump don't know what he talking about when he say something about the FBI. Y'all got to be crazy. Wednesday. That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Charles Wright Museum. 69?
Yeah, 6. Yes.
They got an author down there that wrote a book on the government or the death of Martin. They said the government's plot to kill Martin Luther King, and he's going to be down there giving a lecture and selling his book. Charles Wright Museum. And I'm going to try to pull it up on us. Well, that ain't going to happen right now. Somebody sent that. That might have been Ruben. Oh, I better not be calling the name. Who's sending me stuff, huh? Let's take a call. Carla, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Yes, good morning, Brother Carl and Brother Hassan.
Good morning. How are you, brother?
All peaceful. You know, Brother Carl and Brother Hassan, there's an excellent book out there called Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, the Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity. And in this book, you know, Dr. Wesley Muhammad goes and does the research and information from the CIA, Operation Bluebird, which was a program, I understand, back in the 50s, I understand, that was chemically trying to find a way of mind control and human behavior and whatnot. And in this book, it comes up with a lot of information from the CIA, the federal government, and how they've been working on this since the 50s, understand, altering this what they call medical marijuana and whatnot. and it actually is feminizing black males. And they've been orchestrating this, understand, I think since the 30s, trying to feminize the black man, making him a lesser opposition or whatever. And man, they on the, I mean, radiation. It's information where they have sprayed radiation over the neighborhoods, where they was even entertaining putting LSD into the water supplies and whatnot. We just don't know really how we're living in the valley of the shadow of death every day.
Every day.
And it's the American government, our number one enemy. They are the thorns in black people's side. Because, like I said, we pay taxes, and they have never represented us, understand? All right, you brothers have a blessed day, man. You guys keep up the good work.
All right, you too. Thank you. We go on to 10:30 today, young ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to take all the calls. Anybody wants something to say, want to add something, call us, because we're going to 10:30. Caller, you're on there.
Good morning, Carl Hassan.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I just want to add something. These young people, and old people too, who smoke this stick weed are making it a whole lot easier for the police to stop them, because all they got to do is follow the scent. It's so strong. I mean, if someone drives by you who's been smoking that stuff, you can smell it. It comes right into your car.
Absolutely.
You go into a building where someone has gone ahead of you or behind you, you can smell that stuff. And so they're just making it easier for the police to stop them anyway. So this is what's going to continue to happen. And our people need to be reminded that this is just another form of genocide against black people.
Vera, can you tell me if that meeting tomorrow, do you have to pay for it? Is it free or what down at the museum?
It's free.
Okay, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know the author? Remember the author offhand?
I don't have it in front of me, but I can get it and call you back.
Okay, please do. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Caller, you on the air?
You guys remind me of something. I've always shouted out that you can YouTube St. Alfred's plan. When you YouTube St. Alfred's plan, a lot of things that they have said years ago, including the forthcoming of your black president Obama, they first saw that coming, but they have a lot of information that is written in stone about your government and its plans for you to exterminate and get rid of you. And if we can't see the handwriting on the wall every day, we just don't want to see it. We just want to I guess we just want to go jump. We might as well go jump off a cliff, because if you can't see it, then you're going to walk into it anyway. You're going to fall into the poo-poo anyway. Thank you for taking my call, y'all.
Okay, thanks for making it here. Thanks for making it here. Well, we're talking about it, and we want to know why the preachers aren't saying anything about the marijuana vote that's coming up in November. And we know they don't have any marijuana clinics. They don't own any. And why wouldn't we vote no to get our family members and friends and neighbors out of jail for us having a marijuana cigarette, for smoking weed? If you were caught with a roach clip back in the day, they would lock you up. You'd get a couple years. You know what's his name? Former Governor Swainson, the World War II war veteran. I'm talking about the governor that had both legs amputated. Yeah, they had a governor, Swainson. I believe that was his name. I don't think it was Will. I think it was Swainson. They said, I think they planted it on him, though. They got tired of him. They didn't like him for some reason. Former Governor Swainson, a white governor, was locked up, arrested for a little, what do you call it, a butt?
Roach.
A roach. For a roach marijuana. And this was where you had to get some clips, alligator clips, to hold it up to smoke. They locked him up. I don't think they sent him to prison. They might have gave him probation, 2 years or something, that part. I said, wow, they locking white folks up? A former governor? Hey, if they find it on you, if they plan it on you, you going to prison. Now, they might have gave a man probation. Maybe somebody's memory, they know, or you look it up on YouTube, but we know he was arrested. We know he was convicted. Whatever move he was running for, he might have been running for senator or Supreme Court judge. I think he was a former Supreme Court judge in Michigan. But they got him. You know, they don't like you, and they in power, they go after you. There were plenty of Donald Trump-like folks in Michigan back in the day. We didn't know about it. We didn't know how these people are and what they are doing and what they're planning to do to us. And it's amazing. You sit here, look, in Harlem, Rudy Giuliani took advantage of that law during the Reagan years when he passed it. And when he got to be prosecutor, was he mayor of Harlem? Was he mayor of New York? But I know he was a prosecutor. They hired, I think he was mayor. Anyway, they hired over 10,000 police officers in New York City, put them on, and they had stop and frisk, and the Supreme Court had to step in and say, hey, you all this, you ain't found no drug. Well, there were suspected drug dealers. And they said that, the newspaper and everybody was saying, oh, we think they got guns on them. We think they're criminals. We think they're walking around with, about to commit a crime. When in reality, it was part of this drug interdiction. That's where they got the money from. So when they raid your house, when they coming in, believe me, now you know, get the book and read it yourself.
That's right. I'm
in the middle somewhere. Page 74, I read my books funny. I just go through the middle.
The front, the back.
The back. I always start in the back. Then go to the middle, all of it. And so I read a few pages, and then this knocks you out. You can't hardly, people say put the book down. Man, yeah, I can put the book down and start reading. After I cool off, I got to sit down and calm down so I don't blow a head gasket. Man, you get upset when you see you trying to do the right thing all your life, and people are being stopped every day on these little simple traffic stops. Ladies and gentlemen, they had me going to the library. I got stopped. And the one they would use all the time on me looked like was, oh, you got a light out. Your tail light is out.
Yeah.
Now, nobody in the car, think about it. If nobody in the car with you, they always run that one on you. If somebody in the car, then you can get out and look, and somebody can mash the brake pedal. Okay, otherwise you got to go, and if you want to beat the traffic ticket, you got to go to the shop. And if it's no, if your tail light, see, here's the whole thing. When you read the traffic ticket, it says no tail lights.
Right.
But they told you had one of them out. See, the lie they tell it, but when you go to the library and you look it up under the Michigan Uniform Traffic Code, you find out that the law says you get a violation for no tail lights. No tail light. So the fact that you got one, you aren't guilty of anything.
That's right.
So why did the man stop you? Part of the drug task force, that money.
And you know you don't know.
Right. That's the whole thing. They know, we don't know, and they talk crazy to it. So this book ought to be required reading. The preachers over there and the Baptist Council and all the rest of them preachers in those different little councils, y'all ought to get the book and read it and start telling your members so you don't have to preach at all them funerals. Are you more interested? What do they get paid, $100 or a couple $100 for a funeral? Oh, yeah, they get something.
Yeah, you get something. I don't know how much it is, but I know they get something.
Okay, not everybody. I know some of y'all do it out of the grace of your heart, and you didn't charge Sister Lily because she been a member and she been tied real good for 40 years. So she been and paid for her cemetery and plot and all that right there. I know she paid for that sermon that you wasn't even able to make, so the assistant pastor gave it. Oh, they deep. They always got somewhere to go. They turn it over to the assistant pastor, but it's okay. We're only talking about the living. They're not concerned about the dead, that they were trying to save the souls and all that stuff. You need to read it because they say, look how we're being treated. Look how we're being treated because we don't know. Because we don't know. When you know, then you can talk about them.
That's
It's
right.
a whole lot of the relatives. Look, many black folk been on the police force in the city of Detroit from the Coleman Young years up to now. All of us know some police officers. Some of them relatives. If they're not their in-law relatives and all that kind of stuff, they're married your cousin. But we know them. You can talk to them. They in the bar. They in the after-hour joint. I ain't going to tell where else you see them at. But we know them, and you can talk to them. And when they know that you know, they'll start cutting that crap out. Now, the white folks ain't going to care because they don't know you. They don't care nothing about what you're talking about. And they hire them. They keep hiring them. Hey, look, the police officers are under a 2-year probation, not 90 days, 2-year probation. All them guys down there writing their own time in, forging the records, fire them. Fire them. The police union can't do nothing about that. They violated it all. And they under 2 years probation. What does that mean? They can be fired without cause, for no reason. Come on now, act like you got some sense. Police commissioners, and who else? Council members. Y'all want to take our money? That's crazy, ain't it?
Yes, it
They
is.
want to sit down there, take the money from the school and everywhere, but the police can steal all the money they want. And then the silly judge sitting down there, well, the money going to the city. That money ain't going to the city. They putting it in their pocket. I wonder did he know that, and he'll be asking them for a cut then, huh?
Yeah, maybe he get one already.
Nah, he ain't getting one because he don't know no better. He ain't got no sense. That's what. Well, let me be quiet. Okay. Caller, you on the air?
Hey, I'm glad I looked it up right quick. It's called the King Alfred Plan. The King Alfred Plan. And he tells you about the formulated by the CIA and all of the plans that the CIA have for us and what they said years ago, and this plan is coming true today, and it's been happening in the past, and it's happening presently. It's called the King Alfred Plan. But remember, Carl and Hassan, about the forfeiture law that they made up where they can pull you over and not charge you, but they can take money out of your hand, take your car, or if somebody is standing in front of your house selling drugs, they can come and take your house. So there's been cases going to court where the judge and the cops were all in on it, and they taking people's houses, cars, money out of their hand. And then, they found out, they tried to do a lawsuit because different people start complaining in different cities and towns of how these cops was coming down on them. The couple was going to buy a car, and they had cash in their hand, and they took money out of their hand and said that they would take them children if they didn't cooperate with them because they had children in the car with them. So they intimidate you, take your money and your assets, and never charge you for a crime. It's called a forfeiture something. It's you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what
like
you're
they
talking
do
about.
So they have been abusing it. So hey, guess what? They still abusing the law. Thank you for taking my call. Don't forget, it's called the King Alfred Plan.
Team
YouTube it. The King Alfred.
She said
Oh,
King.
King
Yeah,
Alfred.
King.
Yeah, the King Alfred Plan. Y'all look that up. It's gonna blow your mind what he's saying, and you're gonna see what everything he said. It has already happened. It has come to fruition from the past to the present. Still going on.
All right, thank you.
Deadly stuff y'all need to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to 10:30. We're going to 10:30. Got any
today.
calls? Want to add anything to it? Give us a call. Caller, you on the air?
Yeah, this is Vera calling you back.
Okay. Vera.
The plot to kill King was the author and former attorney to the King family. His name is Dr. William F. Pepper.
Okay.
William
F. Pepper.
The plot
Yeah.
to kill Martin Luther King?
Yes. Dr. William F. Pepper, Esquire.
And I think the subtitle would be the government's involvement in it, something to that effect.
It's the truth behind the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay, the truth behind it. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Gay Edgar Hoover and the boys. All of them folks going to be there.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go down there and check it out myself.
Oh, yeah. I plan on being there.
Sorry.
Oh, these folks are something else, ladies and gentlemen. They are something else. That DEA launched Operation Pipeline. They're going to put you in the pipeline. So think about what they're doing now.
Now think about it.
Think about what they're doing right now. It's amazing. I want you to think about it because we're going to take a station identification break and we'll be coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
Call your friends.
Call your friends and tell them, asking them questions about it because we need to know about these drugs and how they are targeting us. And when you get a traffic ticket, it's because of this Operation Pipeline, the DEA money, the drug enforcement money, and you have been profiled that you're a drug dealer on your way to church on a Sunday morning.